whilst we all settle down, please take up your QR code. Let's put a few questions to the audience. The first question is, who else spilled food on your shirt, like me? I mean, really, the finishing school I didn't go to didn't teach me how to eat flippin' lamb chops standing with a drippy sauce. Ay. I'm going to try harder next time. So I now smell like a braai. Will you please take this up? And then I want to put 2 quick questions to you. The first question should be about South Africa's critical mineral strategy. There's total confusion in the audience. So my question to you, you guys know how to do this, no? Point camera, click link, da. Come on, work with me, I mean, by now. Do you believe South Africa's critical minerals and metal strategy is clear and actionable enough to attract international investment? Anybody who votes yes on this is going to get a drug test. We want to see what you're taking. Okay. Come work with me. We've got over 100 people online, so nobody in the audience have voted yet. There were some comments in the questions about, but where's government and government officials? You can actually relax. There's a good representation of the department present and in the conversation. And then obviously we would expect the national security to, to spy on us. So I'm sure this feeds right back into, into cabinet. So relax. The conversations that are taking place here is feeding back into the structures. Including the fact that 110 of you voted agrees that if there's a strategy, it's not particularly clear on what it's trying to achieve. Perhaps another quick question whilst we all settle down. Somebody said to me over lunch, you haven't yet been on your high horse on beneficiation. Now, I'm scared of horses, but I have some strong views on beneficiation. So from my low horse point of view, I want to ask you, what do you think? Should government make local mineral beneficiation mandatory to drive reindustrialization? Yes, it's essential for economic diversification. No, let's leave it to market forces, or only if incentives and infrastructure are in place. I think what was clear from the slides, which is available on the platform, the slides that Richard presented, Richard Shelsop, is obviously the countries that outperform us and outperform are typically countries that approach this from an incentive and enabling environment perspective as well. So not too surprisingly, in the absence of that, the beneficiation conversation is an ideological one, not a practical one. So very interesting. Good, thank you. So I nearly killed a good friend of mine. So my ex-friend, Musa Mabusa, but he was so short I just could not hit him in the face. I keep on hitting over his head. But the little short shit, firstly, he asked me for a topic. Then I said, yes. Then he says, but I need slides. I said, over my dead body. Then he convinces my team to have slides. And then he says, and by the way, I'm not doing it. I'm getting an expert to do it. So you can see how this has escalated. But then we know Musa is really not particularly good at anything. So we have a real expert in the house now. And I am going to afford an absolute short 10 minutes to Dr. Asinne Tshibubudze, who's the specialist scientist, the head of exploration, and he's going to try and convince us that the exploration money that the country suddenly is making available is beginning to be deployed wisely. So apologies for the slides. Only geologists like looking at slides. The rest of us like looking at either men or women, but geologists and their rock thing. So let's look at your rocks, but be quick, huh? Be quick. Please be very, very, very brief before I kill Musa. Thank you.
No, thanks.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, and as Bernard indicated, I literally have 10 minutes, and I'll try to go through the slides as quickly as possible. But yes, my name is Asinne Tshibubudze. He tried to pronounce the name, he didn't really get it right, but yes.
They even gave it to me wrong. They dropped one of the boos. So I had a Tshibudze and a Tshibubudze. Sorry, dude.
No, great.
And that's 3 minutes of your time up, huh?
So yes, you are definitely all aware of the Junior Mining Exploration Fund, which is a collaboration between the IDC, the DMPR, and the Council for Geoscience. And it's a fund which is so far, it's capitalized at 400 million. And we have gone to the market with about 160 million so far, and that's the feedback I will quickly give you when I go through the slides that we have put together. So within this collaborative partnership that we have, IDC is playing the role of managing the fund. The Council for Geoscience, it is our place, so we do the project management in terms of the exploration projects, and we also get involved in terms of the whole exploration project as a whole. So you'll see that the things that I'll be telling you about is how far some of these projects have gone in ever since we started implementing the project. So far we have had about 5 or 6 months of implementation, and the progress is looking good as it is. So I'll skip through that. From the first window, we went, like I said, we had 160 million that we went to the market with, and the minerals that we were looking for, or projects that are focused on copper, nickel, graphite, lithium, and rare earth minerals were the projects that we were looking for. And from that call, we managed to attract more than 114 applications, of which out of that 114 applications, we managed to end up with the 8 projects that I will quickly brief you on. So if you look at the location of the 8 projects, they are located in the area where, within the context of South Africa, that's one of that whole corridor, the northern corridor stretching from the western coast all the way to Limpopo, is an area which is metallurgically very, very rich. So you can see that even those project allocation are kind of nicely spread out in those regions. So we have a project in Limpopo, which is looking at nickel, copper, and gold and rare earth elements. And we have a project in Northwest, which is also looking at nickel, copper, and cobalt, and PGMs. And we have a project in the Mpumalanga region, which is looking at rare earth elements, lithium, tin, and other elements that are associated with the kind of zone or area that they are at. And we have a project in Free State, which is looking at rare earth minerals. And in this case, monazite is the key mineral that we're interested in. But overall, the heavy mineral sands are the most dominant in that region. And then we have 4 projects which are in the Northern Cape, of which all of those 4 projects are either looking at copper, nickel, lead, zinc, and lithium, and whatever other minerals are within their prospecting rights. But the key one that we were interested in are the ones that we had listed on our call. So I would only give you a much more detailed, with limitation, of course, feedback on the 2 projects, and then I'll talk about how the other ones are doing. So if we then look at the project in the Limpopo region, which is in Giyani, it's literally in the Giyani Greenstone Belt, and in the region where the region is, the land itself is a tribal land or is a state land owned or under the leadership of the Ndengeza royal family. And like I said earlier on, nickel, copper, and rare earth and gold is some of the things that we are interested in within that prospecting right. So as the Council for Geoscience, one of the biggest advantage we have is that we have access to a lot of historical data as empowered to us by our mandate in terms of curating all this data geological data that is collected anywhere within the country. So we then spend a lot of time going into that data mining to make sure that when we then get into this PR area, we have looked at what is available and what is useful in terms of what we are interested in. So these are some of the data sets that are available. There is a 1 kilometer grid soil sampling that was done in the area. So we then spent some time looking at those results to see how they can assist us in terms of delineating areas of interest in collaboration with the 1:50,000 and 1:250,000 maps that are also available for the area. One of the key aspects, once you have kind of had a good background to the area, is getting into the area and mapping the area in a scale that makes sense with respect to exploration. And this is the process that we are applying to all the projects that have been approved to make sure that each and every one of these projects produces a map which is within an acceptable standard for exploration. 1:10,000, 1:5,000, and in some cases, depending on the ore body or the area of interest, we go as far as 1:1,000 scale mapping. So this is the map that has been produced for the area of interest, which is right at the fold closure of the greenstone belt in the area of interest, which then brings in the aspect of typical saddle reef and shear-hosted kind of deposit systems. And that's what we are currently going forward to kind of test in terms of what might be hosting the mineralization. So there is a regional aeromag data, but the spacing is as it is, regional. So when you then look at the data within the area of interest, it doesn't give enough resolution, and we're then expected or required to go to a resolution that makes sense in terms of the magnetic data that we collect in the area. That helps us with the mapping and helps us with the locating of these areas of interest in terms of the mineralization. So that is one of the areas of interest, or the area that we have allocated or targeted as one of the targets, and we have completed the acquisition of ground magnetic data. We then bring in the aspect of induced polarization, simply because induced polarization in an area where you are looking at the mineralization that is going to be sulfide hosted can easily indicate or assist in terms of working out where the areas with disseminated sulfides are going to be. So we have done 3 IP lines, of which all of the 3 IP lines have indeed confirmed zones which are about 400 meters wide in terms of an area that we are going to target with drilling. So this project is one of those projects that is moving forward to test these areas that we have identified as the target sites for drilling. And this slide there is just to kind of give you a sense with respect to all these IP lines. Where are they located, and where are these zones that I'm referring to, which are showing areas of interest in terms of where there's disseminated sulfides or the host minerals to the mineralization that we are looking for are probably going to be. And when you then look at the regional mapping and the localized mapping that we have done, it's quite clear that there is a good continuation of these mineralization areas that we have picked up, which is the next phase that we are going to be looking at, testing the continuity of the areas that are mineralized, and of course working out the quality. So the quantity, I mean. So the other project is in the Bothaville. Again, it's in this case, it's owned by a farmer. It's a farmland, of which the most interesting mineral that we are looking for there is monazite, which is the key. And again, the database, we go through the database to make sure that all the data sets that are historically available have been interrogated enough to assist in target generation. And then we do the mapping to kind of delineate the areas of interest, of which in this case, you can see the ferruginous sandstone, which is part of the Karoo system, is what is hosting the heavy mineral sands where the monazite is located. And then we use drones to assist in terms of things like radiometrics, where you can easily work out the thorium and uranium distribution, which again delineates the areas of interest. So you'll see that the thorium and the uranium maps really kind of clearly define the areas of interest in terms of the area of mineralization. And we are moving forward to test these areas in terms of the drilling. So far we have released the second call, which then is going to be, again, depending on the amount of applications we get, we'll see how we continue with the exploration. So all the other projects that I didn't talk about are also in the phase of acquiring geophysics data. We have done mapping for additional 2 projects. We are in the process of acquiring geophysics data for those 2 projects, and the other ones are still sorting out the first milestone, which is getting the land use agreement in place before we can disperse any funds to a project. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.